In 1981, the United States faced an economic crisis. The streets were filled with homeless people, elapsed from hunger on the sidewalks. At that time, President Reagan appeared on TV, reading bleak economic reports.
The federal budget is out of control.
In front of the television sat a black man, his expression anxious. He had been unemployed for a long time. Feeding his wife and kids had become a problem. The main character, Chris, was a clueless dad who had bet all his savings on a medical device, thinking it would be a good investment. But to his dismay, he lost everything, as no one wanted to buy it. The device just sat at home gathering dust. Now, his wife was forced to work 2 jobs, and the pressure was immense. She either mocked and cursed him, or glared at him in anger. Chris hadn't paid rent for 2 months, and he had delayed paying taxes twice. His car had accumulated too many tickets and was towed away. This was the lowest point in Chris's life, and he hadn't smiled in a long time. Until one day, he stumbled upon a wonderful place, where everyone seemed happy. He stopped a man out of curiosity, asking what he did for a living. The man replied that he was a stockbroker. This planted a dream in 27-year-old Chris's mind. He wanted to experience that kind of happiness. Chris took action, and quickly applied for an internship, but his low education level made others reluctant to hire him. Chris didn't give up. Every day, he waited at the bottom of the office building, hoping to catch the HR manager. Finally, he ran into him one day, and handed over his resume in person, but once again received no response. He continued waiting downstairs, for a whole month. When he spotted the manager again, to strike up a conversation, Chris lied, saying he needed a cab too, and that it was along the same route. Once in the car, Chris introduced himself non-stop, but the manager ignored him, focused on playing with a Rubik's Cube, the trendiest toy of the time. The manager scoffed, saying it was impossible to solve. Chris bet him, claiming he would finish it before they arrived. The manager smirked, skeptical, but soon, his smile faded. Chris had already completed one side, then the second, and the third. Even the driver couldn't help but look back. As they arrived, Chris finished the last side. The manager was stunned. For the first time, he really looked at the young man beside him.
Good job.
Goodbye. I'll see you soon.
But soon Chris realized he was in trouble. The manager hadn't paid for the ride. He couldn't afford the fare, only a few dollars. All he could do was run, apologizing as he fled. In his panic, he dashed into the subway, with the driver in hot pursuit. Desperate, Chris jumped onto the subway, but he was still a step too late. A month's worth of living expenses vanished. Chris felt heartbroken, sweat and rain sliding down his face, unsure if there were any tears.